Dwyer brings his family to Cambodia for a new engineering job, even though none of them feel ready to live so far away from home. During the flight, their younger daughter, B, keeps searching for her missing doll. A quiet man sitting behind them picks it up and hands it back. Jack tries to answer Lucy's questions while hiding his own fears, especially the one thought that keeps coming back. What if this company fails too? He forces a smile, insisting that this job is different, that this company is far bigger than the one he previously worked for. After nearly 11 hours, they step into the humid Cambodian airport. Before they can choose a taxi, the same man from the plane approaches and warns them about local scams disguised as officials. His name is Hammond, a businessman who travels all over Southeast Asia. When he learns Jack has come to work for a company called Cardiff and that they're staying at the same hotel, he offers them a ride. Jack, eager for a safe start, accepts without hesitation. The drive feels uneasy. Hammond and his friends sing loudly as they pass dusty streets and tense groups of soldiers. No one explains what's going on, and the uncertainty follows them all the way to the hotel, where Jack's welcome banner hangs at the entrance like a reminder of expectations he suddenly feels pressured to meet. Inside, nothing works. The phones are dead. The internet is out. Even the TV shows no signal. Jack asks the staff what's happening, but they know as little as he does. What Jack doesn't know is that earlier that day, the country's prime minister met a foreign diplomat to discuss the water project. When the diplomat was escorted away, a moment of silence filled the room, followed immediately by gunfire. Rebels stormed in and assassinated the prime minister. Chaos was already spreading, though Jack and his family remained completely unaware of what waited outside. The next morning, Jack heads to reception hoping for a call from the company, but nothing has come through. Even the daily newspaper hasn't arrived. The clerk points him toward a nearby market, so Jack steps outside, unaware of last night's events. The streets feel strangely quiet. Locals watch him with a mix of curiosity and caution. He reaches a small shop but only finds an American paper from 3 days earlier. Frustrated, he walks back outside and notices a set of hanging bells swaying in the still air. For a moment, the street feels peaceful until the noise behind him changes. He turns and realizes he is standing in the middle of a rising riot. Shops slam their shutters. Protesters confront a line of armed police. Before Jack can process it, a man throws a firebomb, only to be shot dead instantly. Chaos explodes around him. Jack runs with the crowd, squeezed between terrified locals and scattering officers. He slips into a narrow alley and escapes the crush, but the city has already turned hostile. When Jack spots his hotel in the distance, he runs toward it, only to witness rebels confronting a foreigner. The man insists he's American, but they execute him without hesitation. Shocked, Jack darts away, climbing a fire escape just as a rebel charges. He knocks down the metal stairs to block the attacker, and when they begin throwing rocks, he uses one to smash through a window and slip inside the building. Downstairs, rebels storm the hotel. Staff try to hold the entrance, but the attackers break through and flood the lobby, killing every foreigner they find. Jack reaches the elevator and frantically hits the button. He bursts into the room and explains everything, but Annie can barely comprehend it. Before he can calm her, they realize Lucy is missing. Bea quietly whispers that she went to the pool. Jack tells Annie to lock the door. He rushes through the kitchen and up the emergency stairs toward the 4th floor. Meanwhile, Annie hears shouting in the hallway. Looking through the peephole, she sees rebels going room to room, stabbing guests. Heart pounding, she braces against the door and tells Bea to stay hidden. Jack reaches the pool just in time to grab Lucy before the rebels pour into the area. As he heads back to the stairwell, another rebel almost corners them, until Hammond suddenly appears and takes the man down. He orders Jack to get his family to the roof and disappears back into the chaos. Jack races back to the room. Annie opens the door, shaking. He urges her to head upstairs. As they hurry down the hallway, Bea drops her doll. Her startled cry alerts the rebels. Gunfire erupts, and the family ducks around the corner just in time. Jack shouts that they're Americans while forcing open the rooftop door. On the roof, frightened guests and staff huddle together, unsure why they're being hunted. Jack asks around and finally learns the truth. The Prime Minister was murdered last night, and the rebels believe foreigners stole their water rights. Someone translates the angry chant rising from the streets below. Blood for water. A wounded staff member explains that Cardiff, the company Jack works for, acquired control of the country's entire water supply through a corrupt deal. To the rebels, foreigners aren't helpers, they're thieves. The realization hits Jack hard. He came here thinking he would help, but instead has walked straight into someone else's war. A growing roar interrupts them. A helicopter rises over the rooftop, and everyone cheers, thinking rescue has arrived. That hope shatters when Jack sees rebels inside the cockpit. The gunman opens fire, forcing everyone to scatter. The pilot loses control, and as the helicopter circles the roof, its rotors snag on cables attached to the hotel sign. The aircraft jerks, tips, and erupts into a massive explosion. Flames sweep across the rooftop. At the same moment, rebels break through the locked door and storm upward, shooting anyone in their path. Part of the burning hotel sign collapses, creating a small area of shelter. With no other escape, Jack looks to the neighboring building, just close enough for a desperate jump. He tells Annie she has to leap first, so she can catch the girls. The drop is terrifying, and the gap feels impossibly wide. But the rebels are seconds away. Trembling, Annie pushes past her fear, landing hard on the opposite building. Scraped and shaking, she gets up instantly, ready to catch her daughters. He lifts Bea into his arms and throws her across the gap. Annie catches her with a rush of relief. With the plan working, Jack grabs Lucy next. Annie catches her safely. Jack then makes the jump himself, landing hard but steady. The man who helped them tries to follow, but a bullet hits him midair, sending him straight down the side of the building. Gunfire rains toward them. Jack kicks at a metal door, but it won't open. He spots a narrow path leading downward. Together, they reach a quiet corner where they finally catch their breath. Their brief rest ends as the rumble of a tank grows louder. The machine fires, and Jack rushes his family inside. The tank shell smashes into the wall, throwing everyone to the ground as dust and ringing noise fill the air. Knowing rebels will arrive soon, Jack drags a fallen body over Annie and the girls and urges them to stay still. Moments later, armed rebels sweep in, shooting clerks without hesitation. Annie covers her daughter's eyes as bodies fall nearby. The dust and dim light hide the family well enough, and eventually the rebels move on. Silence settles over the ruined building. The family crawls out from under the body. Jack and Annie search the office and find a map and a motorcycle key. The map reveals a path to the American embassy. Jack recognizes the area from the directions he got that morning. As they gather supplies, the thief from earlier slips inside and spots them. Jack tackles him and begs him to stay quiet. For a moment, the man seems to obey, but as soon as Jack loosens his grip, he screams. With no choice and his children at risk, Jack strikes him repeatedly until the shouting stops. Shaken, he and Annie freeze for a moment, then force themselves to keep moving. Jack puts on a rebel's clothes and heads to the ground floor to find the motorcycle that matches the key. They dress in whatever local clothes they can find and ride off, trying to blend into the crowd. The city around them is in ruins, smoke in the air, buildings shattered. As they near the embassy, a large group of rebels suddenly approaches their side of the road. Jack freezes, unsure whether to turn back or move forward. He lowers the girls' heads and calmly drives straight through the crowd. It almost works, but the bike bumps into someone, causing all of them to slip. A nearby rebel helps lift the bike. When he looks up, he sees Jack's foreign face. His eyes pause, but when he notices the children holding their parents, he quietly steps aside and lets them go. Thanks to that small act of mercy, the family continues toward the embassy. They finally reach the building, surrounded by barricades and signs of a recent battle. Jack climbs the wall to check inside, and is frozen by what he sees. Every American inside has already been killed. Before he can react, a group of rebels spots him. Jack drops down and sprints back, leading his family into a narrow alley. They run until they reach a small hidden garden. An elderly gardener appears, startled, and tries to chase them away. But when he sees the girls, his expression softens, and he guides them deeper inside to hide. Moments later, rebels storm in, searching the garden aggressively. One beats the old man while leaving his rifle on the ground. Jack knows they must act. He inches toward the weapon, but the rebel hears the movement. Before Jack is discovered, Annie shouts, drawing attention. Jack seizes the moment. He snatches the gun and pulls the trigger, only to realize it's empty. The rebels tackle him instantly. Just when it seems they're finished, Hammond appears, pretending to be a captive. The rebel guarding him suddenly turns and shoots the other rebels. Hammond joins in, finishing the fight. Only the rebel leader escapes. The captive rebel was actually Hammond's undercover partner. Hammond leads the Dwyer family to a hidden safe house behind a brothel. Since the girls haven't eaten all day, he brings out a plate of concho chicken. As the girls eat quietly, Hammond pulls Jack and Annie aside and points toward a dark river. That river separates the country from Vietnam. At 4 a.m., they will slip downstream to a crossing point. Jack thanks him and asks if he's CIA. Hammond doesn't confirm it, but he admits he shares some blame for what's happening. He explains that the locals were never violent. They were unaware of the government's hidden deals. Foreign agents came offering friendly smiles and huge loans they knew the country could never repay. When the debt deepened, parts of the nation were handed over. Modern colonization disguised as development. The rebels are angry because they believe foreigners are tightening control over their future. Jack works for the company responsible for their water, so to them, He represents the system trapping their children. Helping Jack's family is Hammond's way of balancing a debt he feels responsible for. In the middle of the night, gunfire erupts. Rebels have found the hideout. Hammond and his partner shoot back, urging the family to run. But Hammond's partner is shot and collapses instantly. Hammond keeps firing, clearing a path for the Dwyers. He takes a bullet to the stomach, but keeps going. When a rebel truck charges toward them, Hammond uses his last bit of strength to shoot the driver, stopping the truck just before it reaches the family. Jack, Annie, and the girls reach the riverbank, shaken but alive. Jack hides them behind cover and searches for a boat. He eventually finds one, but a fisherman confronts him. Desperate, Jack offers his watch and shoes. As rebels approach, the fisherman quickly hides him. But when the rebels arrive, they flip the boat and drag Jack out. He fights back, but is overwhelmed. The rebel leader aims a gun at Jack's head and fires, just as Lucy bursts out from hiding and screams. The shout throws off his aim, and the bullet hits Jack's arm instead. The leader grabs Lucy and forces her to point a gun at her father. Jack, trembling and bleeding, begs him to spare her and take him instead. Annie rushes in and strikes the leader, giving Jack the moment he needs. He grabs the gun and takes the rebels down. With no time left, the family boards the boat and paddles toward the Vietnamese border. Another truck of rebels races along the riverbank, closing in fast, but Jack rows with everything he has. Ahead, Vietnamese troops appear and order the boat to stop. Jack keeps moving and begs for help. Before they can react, the boat crosses into Vietnamese territory. The troops raise their weapons and command the rebels to stand down. The rebels lower their guns at last, ending the family's nightmare. Later, the Dwyers rest in a hospital room, bruised but safe. Lucy asks her parents to tell the story of her birth. Jack remembers how she wouldn't breathe at first until Annie spoke to her. Lucy took her first breath the moment she heard her mother's voice. Even now, that memory reminds them why they fought so hard to protect their children through every moment of danger. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.